Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and today I present to you a marketing maverick. His name is Caragiannides. He has a passion educating and serving his clients, which is his number one priority. That's why he created the Marketing Edge Network, a free online community dedicated to helping you thrive in today's fast-paced digital environment. By joining, you'll gain access to a vibrant community of like-minded professionals and receive exclusive content like the Ultimate AI Marketing Masterclass and weekly live webinars. His journey of Alex is growing up in the lively Northside Greek community of Chicago. Alex learned the value of hard work and dedication early on. His journey from a telemarketer to a top-producing loan officer in San Diego was filled with late nights, relentless effort, and a burning passion for mastering the art of marketing. Today, he is the founder of BSM Vault, a seven-figure digital media agency. His success stems from his mindset and belief in making oneself invaluable. He combines real-world industry experience with digital marketing expertise to deliver results that set him apart from others. At BSM Vault, they craft bespoke digital strategies that turn the complex world of online marketing into a gold mine of opportunities. Here's how Alex can help you. His lead generation system is innovative and help clients acquire with a customized digital funnels. His content strategies create compelling content that captivates and converts. His social media marketing amplifies brands on platforms where conversions thrive. His ad campaign is specifically designed ads that don't just reach people but resonate with them. Alex has empowered countless of clients to double or even triple their leads and conversions with digital campaigns that consistently outperform industry benchmarks. His guiding philosophy is empowering through education. He simplifies digital marketing, ensuring his clients are active participants in their growth journey, not just spectators, as one client put it. Alex isn't just a consultant, he's a cornerstone in our growth strategy. Take the next step. If you're ready to boost your digital marketing strategies and achieve extraordinary growth, join the free online community. The Marketing Edge Network is your gateway to personal and business elevation at theschool.com. You can get in touch with Alex at alex@bsmvault.com or 619-701-5291 and Alex and on Instagram at Alex_Caragiannides. Alex, please give it up for Alex, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow, that was a mouthful.
How are you feeling, champ? Another day, another dollar, another day in paradise.
Another day in paradise. Thanks for having me on the show, Vincent. I appreciate it. Thank you for the introduction. I'm excited and grateful to be on the show. I'm happy you're doing this.
Nah, thank you, Alex. It's a true honor and pleasure to have you on the show. Now, Alex, can you let the people know what year you got into the digital marketing?
Sorry, you broke up a little bit. What was your question?
What year did you get into digital marketing and getting to like the coaching side of it?
Sure. I've always been a marketing maverick. I come from an immigrant family. I'm first generation here in the U.S., born in Chicago. I got in the mortgage business in 2002 as a telemarketer, and had a journey, a very good career, 16 plus year career as a loan officer and producing branch manager. I got into digital marketing selfishly for myself and to take care of my referral partners, which is predominantly realtors at the time. I'd say about 2012 is when I first looked under the hood and got very interested in the art and science of marketing. It just happened to be digital, more of it, because marketing is not selling. Marketing is getting people's attention, and digital marketing is using software and technology, today AI, leveraging and having access to social media channels to get your message, which is marketing, to get your message in front of the right people at the right time. So 2012 started my journey. I haven't looked back ever since.
Alex, what was a turning point in your career journey where like your eyes lit up and you knew like digital marketing was for you and you weren't going back to the mortgage side?
That's a good question. I would say 2012 started that trend for me to really look into the art and science of marketing. And at that time, I'm in the peak of my mortgage career, so I wasn't considering or planning on leaving the mortgage industry anytime soon. I just wanted to use the principles that I learned, the strategies and tactics that I learned, to be able to get in front of more of my target audience. At the time, my target audience was veterans and active military families that they wanted to achieve the dream of homeownership in San Diego, because at that time, if I recall correctly, I was a producing branch manager for Veterans United Home Loans. So most of our loans was geared towards the military families. I'd say the turning point for me was also at the same time, because I realized this company, Veterans United Home Loans, which is still probably arguably the number one VA lending company in the country. I realized that they were very heavily focused on marketing and messaging. I believe they were more of a marketing company that just happened to do loans and not the other way around. So that got me interested in learning as much as I can about marketing and joining as many groups as I could find that were worth joining, and purchasing courses and, watching stuff free on YouTube and reading a lot of books and, just testing. And then from there, I branched off, and I decided that, when I say from there, 5 years later, I branched off, and October 2nd, 2017, I opened up my marketing and consulting agency, which I still run and own, and I stopped originating full time.
Nice. Has the identity from your clients from 2017 till now shifted at all, of what your ideal client is?
Well, yeah, I mean, before I opened up my agency, my ideal client was a consumer direct looking to, get information on financing and get pre-approved. And then it shifted. Then my ideal client became the mortgage professionals and the real estate professionals, because that was who I wanted to serve. And that's who I still serve. Predominantly, I'd say 90% of my client base is between, mortgage and real estate professionals all over the US. Also in Greece. I'm first generation, come from an immigrant family. My parents were born in Greece. I was born in Chicago, but I was raised in Greece, and I spent a lot of time in Greece. And just recently, the last 3-4 years, I've been back more often, and there's opportunity there in that market. So now my client base is mortgage and real estate professionals, basically service providers, anybody that wants to leverage digital marketing, leverage AI. Today, AI, it's been around forever, but today AI is obviously more mainstream than it's ever been, but still people are confused how to really use AI. It's not just, you type in some prompts and you get some prompts back and, go run with it. There's a way you can actually coach and train the artificial intelligence to become your virtual marketing assistant. And they could do stuff today in seconds, which took us back in the days weeks, if not days, for sure. That's how powerful AI is. So my audience right now is anybody who wants to leverage AI and digital marketing and videos to get in front of more of their target audience, become more omnipresent online, and grow their business by complementing online marketing with their offline efforts. Online marketing doesn't replace offline efforts. It just complements it. Your offline game has to be very strong. You have to have systems and structure in place. You have to know who you want to work with. You can't just work with the masses, even though most mortgage people could do loans really for anyone, depending on their situation. And most realtors could probably help anyone depending on their situation. But the reality is you'll get a lot farther ahead with marketing, not just marketing dollars, but marketing energy, if you're systematically going after a certain type of audience, because your message is going to dictate how you're going to get their attention.
No, it makes total sense. Makes total sense. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know Alex, he loves doing top of the funnels, middle of the funnels, and then bottom of the funnels. And the bottom of the funnel is really where the offline stuff happens. Alex, what's the most misunderstood thing about you, your industry, or your work, would you say?
Well, I think you touched on it a little bit with the funnel concept. For those that don't know, a funnel, if you could visualize it, it's a lot wider at the top and a lot more narrow at the bottom. And most people don't understand marketing. They think marketing is just selling and making offers and promoting properties or promoting rates, and products of the week, even though most mortgage professionals know they can't promote rate because the rate's always affected by the market. It's always adjusting. But most people don't understand that it's not an ads problem that most people have. It's not a lack of content problem that most people don't have or have. It's a lack of systems and structure, I believe. Offline, you have to be very systematic and have some structure in your day, in your week, in your month, and what you're doing as far as your activities. Same thing applies online with digital marketing. A lot of people come to me for consulting or for just advice. And most of the time they think they have a Facebook ads problem, or they have a Google ads problem, or they just have an advertising problem, but they really don't. They have a lack of a systems problem. So when you mentioned the funnel concept, top, middle, and bottom, the top of the funnel, if you could visualize it into 3 sectors, top, middle, bottom, the top is it's really meant for organic marketing to be put in front of your target audience consistently. And organic marketing is free. It doesn't cost anything, just the time and effort to put the content together. And when I say organic marketing, I'm talking about blog articles, social media posts, long form videos, short form videos, you name it. You want to be consistently putting out content on your social platforms of choice. Let's just call it Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn, just for this conversation. And you want to be consistently posting on those platforms. Doesn't mean you have to post every single day on all of them, even though you could very easily repurpose your content and do that. But even if you posted, let's say, Mondays and Wednesdays and Fridays on Facebook, and Tuesdays and Thursdays on Instagram, and Saturdays on LinkedIn, I'm just giving you an example, that would do a lot better for you. And if you were consistently doing that, to get more attention at the top of the funnel. And before you get people's attention, you want to at least know who you want to get people's attention. So is it a first-time buyer who's a firefighter that just relocated to the city of your choice? That's a very different message than somebody who's an investor, or somebody who is now ready to sell their first home and upsize to their second home because now they have a growing family and they've outgrown the urban area of where they were living. Now they want to go to the suburban area or where they want to live. I mention all this because your top of the funnel content needs to be specialized, or it needs to be geared towards the audience that you want to eventually serve. That's the top of the funnel. No advertising is needed at the top of the funnel. It's just organic. And at the middle of the funnel, you can retarget all the activity at the top of the funnel. So people that like, they comment, they tag, they share, they watch videos. That's all engagement that you could then retarget. So that audience that engages at the top with all your content, the algorithms will put more of that content in front of the right people. In the middle of the funnel, you could run now some ads, and not necessarily ads to convert them into a lead to talk about maybe getting pre-approved or to promote a listing. That it's a little bit too premature for that still, because we don't know where they are in the sales cycle. The ads could be just to increase maybe engagement on good content at the top of the funnel. And the reason why you want to do that is because then you can get more audience and you can get more customized and more targeting. And at the bottom of the funnel is where you can convert and run different types of ads for a smaller group of people that's more engaged from the top and the middle. Because what's going to happen then is your cost per click is going to be lower. Your quality of lead, if anybody opts in, which we call that a lead, is going to be it's going to be a better quality of lead. So your conversion is going to go up. So the misconception out there is most people don't have a system. They don't understand the rules of marketing. They don't understand the 1% rule of marketing, that if you just converted 1% of your online leads, you would still get a return on investment. So if you generated 100 leads in a month, and let's say each lead costs you $10, that's $1,000 in a month, but you only converted 1% of those leads, some people would call that a failure or a failed campaign. I would say no, not at all. That's actually a good campaign, because let's say you make $5,000 on a transaction, whether you're on the mortgage side or real estate side. If you close one of those deals, 1 out of 100, that means 99 you didn't close. You spent $1,000 to get the 100 leads, and you close one and you made 5,000. You just that's a 5x return on your investment. Right? Everybody here listening or watching would say that's not a bad ROI. That's just on 1%. You're probably leaning towards 2 to 5% conversion over the long haul. When I say long haul, 9 months, 12 months, etc., if you do the approach differently and you focus on the 3 tiers, top of the funnel, middle, and the bottom of the funnel. So I know it's a long answer, but I get really into the marketing stuff. So my answers are probably going to be long on all your questions.
No, not at all, Alex. Not at all. If you could change one thing about the digital marketing landscape, what would it be and why?
Well, if I could change one thing about the digital marketing landscape, I would fast forward my learning curve, me personally, and not have made. I take that back, because I was going to say not have made all the mistakes I made, but the reality is that's where I learned everything from, was my mistakes. Because with marketing, it's all about testing. I could run 10 campaigns for one client on one day, and I know in 2 days, 8 of them are going to flop, but that's okay. I know that now. And what that's going to do is going to identify my winners, and the 2 that did well are going to be the ones I'm going to keep on, and the ones that didn't do well, I'm going to turn off. I didn't know this information years ago when I started. So my journey of being a strategic, digital marketer and consultant has happened through the trial and errors and the mistakes and the failures of so many campaigns that I tried. Obviously in there were successes, and there still are a lot of successes, but I believe, it's been an 8-year journey, and every month I get better and better. Every quarter I get better and better. Every year I get better and better. So being patient in the marketing game is very important, and not investing money that you really don't know what you're doing with yet, because you're gonna lose the money if you don't know what you're doing. So being patient, learning from the mistakes, and then doubling down on the successes. Because if I had to do it again, I would probably get better training, get better mentorship, stop trying to figure it out all on my own, which the first few years, that's what I did, and just follow somebody that already has a proven track record and just duplicate what's already working. Good marketers create, great marketers copy. So advice to everybody, find out what whoever it is you're competing with or somebody in your industry who's doing very well, find out what they're doing. All marketing is public, all advertising is public. That data could be found, and then just review it, analyze it, and then make it a version of yours in your market for your target audience.
No, preach. No, that's all gems that you're spitting. And what's the most courageous decision you've made recently, and how did it impact you?
I mean, I've made a lot of courageous decisions. I don't think those stop. The journey of life for all of us is a bunch of courageous decisions after the other, even though you might not think it is at the time. But if you look back, like, wow, that was a pretty aggressive move. I mean, I left San Diego, or how about this? I left Chicago to go to San Diego. That was a courageous move. I left San Diego to go to Colorado. That was a courageous move. I left Colorado to go to New York. That was a courageous move. I left the mortgage industry to take a leap of faith and become this entrepreneur, solopreneur, and become a digital marketer. That was a leap of faith, So all the moves that are risky moves, that potentially aggressive moves with big upside, but large risk at the same time, are courageous moves, So I don't think that's ever going to stop for me. I think that's just how my DNA is. That's just how I'm wired. I'm becoming smarter now with my moves. I'm becoming more strategic with my moves. I'm aligning myself with the right people more so than ever before. And I'm learning from them. I'm learning from their successes. I'm learning from their failures, which is helping me a lot. Who you surround yourself with, proximity of who you are with is a big deal. That's why they say hang out, the 3, 4, 5 people you hang out with, if they all make more money than you do, eventually you will gravitate up and make more money as well. That's why they say read really good books, read really good biographies, hang out with the right people. It makes sense. As you get older, you figure out most of what you were told makes sense. It's just you weren't ready to listen or ready to take it in and execute on it. Because when we're younger, we feel like we know it all. We're younger. We have the whole world in front of us. We have our whole life in front of us. And before you know it, you turn 30. Before you know it, you turn 40. Before you know it, you turn 50. Before you know it, you turn 60. Life goes by very fast. My wife said it very best multiple times in the past when we had kids. She said the days are long and the years are short. And that's so true, So they're all courageous moves, Vincent. They're all courageous moves.
No, you're totally right. Yeah, before you know, you'll be able to connect all the dots, and it'll be hindsight's 2020. And you're right. You don't know how fast time goes until you get there. And what's the next big thing we should expect in the digital marketing landscape, and how are you contributing to it?
Well, the next big thing is already here. It's been here for a while. That's AI. I don't think AI anytime soon is going to replace the human factor, the human touch that's needed to handle transactions at scale, even in our industries, mortgage and real estate. I think AI is going to allow us to be more efficient and more effective. For sure, it already has. And I think that you need to grasp it as a professional, whatever industry you're in. You need to grasp it and learn how to leverage it. It's not going to replace the belly to belly stuff. I don't know if it'll ever replace the belly to belly stuff, to be perfectly honest. I think if we ever get to that point, it's a completely different world. And there'll be different conversations, different questions being asked, those people at that time. But for right now, especially our industry, the conversations on the phone, and I'm going to tell you firsthand experience from me personally, where I leveraged AI as much as I could, to the point where I let AI replace all forms of communication for me. And I didn't realize the negative impact it would have until it did. And then when I transitioned back to me making the calls, me personally making the calls and personally having the conversations, where I started tracking my conversations every day. I average about 20 conversations a day. These are conversations where I'm having with people on the other end of the line, not voicemails, not text messages, but actual conversations. I'm averaging about 100 a week. I track it. it's changed the game for me because my interaction with people, whether they're current clients, past clients, leads, warm leads, joint ventures, referral partners, it doesn't matter. I'm bringing value and I'm receiving value. And that's really what we need to be doing as professionals is solve problems. The more problems you solve, the more opportunities you have to serve people, help people as much as possible, bring value to the marketplace as much as possible, keep growing, build a team around you. And leveraging AI can complement all that, but it's not going to replace the interaction that's needed. Even these conversations via Zoom or via this presentation, you can't have AI do this. I mean, you can, but it's not going to be the same. So I believe tracking your Zoom meetings, which are face-to-face meetings on Zoom, is important. I believe tracking your face-to-face meetings in person, your break breads in person, your conversations on the phone. You should track them every day. And at the end of the week, you should have 5, 6, 7 KPIs, key performance indicators that you're tracking that are important for your business model. And AI can leverage and complement the offline efforts to allow you to do more of the stuff that moves the needle, which is, in my opinion, is belly to belly relationship stuff. I know, again, it's a long answer, but I firmly believe AI is not the next big thing. It's already here. You also have to be able to get comfortable with videos. Videos have been here forever. It's nothing new, but the more you could do videos, whether it's a short form video, a long form video, a webinar, you're educating, you're teaching, you're informing, and then leverage AI to even write your scripts, write your posts, so you don't have to think about how to create it. It's all done for you. You now could create more content, more relevant content, and then put AI together and automate the postings, schedule the postings in a match. Everybody should have all their content created for the month coming up, the month before. That way all your content is scheduled. So every day it goes live on the channel that you needed to go live. All your email broadcasts should be created with AI. All your text broadcasts should be created with AI. Your social media posts, your advertising campaigns. That's where the next big thing is here. And the faster you absorb it and learn it and get good at it, then it's going to be easier if you want to outsource it. Like if you outsource that kind of stuff to somebody like me or an agency like myself, if you don't know what's going on, you don't know what's going on. You don't know if I know what I'm talking about. You don't know if what I do is working or not working. But if you know what's going on, then you could hold me to what I say I'm going to do, or anybody you're working with. You could hold them to what they say they're going to do. And then you'll be a part of the solutions. You'll be a part of the strategies, and you'll have better conversations, whether it's internally with your team, by yourself, or with a company that you're outsourcing this to. So the next big thing is already here. That's AI and video marketing.
Now, those two tools alone will completely enhance someone's brand. And as long as they fine tune it to the way it's supposed to be, they can really be running at all optimal levels and have clicking on full cylinders. Alex, you don't have to answer this question at all, but how do you handle criticism and negative feedback about your work if it's ever occurred?
It has, of course it has, because if you're not, one of my mentors used to say, if you don't get any opt-outs or spams or stops on your email broadcast or your text broadcast, he used to say you're not marketing enough. You put yourself out there enough times, there's going to be people that support you. There's going to be people that, they believe in you, they love you. And then you're going to have the flip side. You're going to have people that don't support you, don't believe in you, don't love you. And then you're going to have the middle ground. So it is what it is. If you perform and you do well and you're always improving, if you drop the ball, if a campaign doesn't make it, if a client doesn't get the results they thought they were going to get, it's not the end of the world. You just got to learn from it, and you got to continue going the path that you want to go. If you have faith and you believe in your abilities and you believe in what you're doing. Same thing applies if you're on the mortgage side and the loan falls through, or things don't go to the end table like you expected them to go. There's issues with underwriting. There's issues with title. There's issues with appraisals. Sometimes things are out of your control. Same things on the real estate side. Don't beat yourself up. Learn from it, shake it off, become better from it. As long as you're learning and you're improving, that's really all you could do. There's so many people you could serve. There's not enough of me in marketing, or you, Vincent, in lending, or, another person over here in real estate. There's not enough of us to serve all the people that need to be served. So at the end of the day, it's just a numbers game. Yeah, we want to make everybody happy. Yeah, we want to get everybody results if it's marketing, or we want to get everybody their dream home if it's real estate, or everybody the best loan if it's on the lending side. But sometimes things happen, and sometimes things are out of our control. What's in our control is to learn from it and get better, Don't let it bring you down. Don't let it have a negative impact on your mindset and your attitude. Right? We can only control our actions and our attitude. Everything else, you can't really control 90% of things that happen. Actions and attitudes all we can control. So learn from it, get better, improve, and stop making the same mistakes. Stop making the same mistakes and just get better. And at the end of the day, it's about serving and taking care of people. That's really what it is at the end of the day.
No, good for you. That's good for you. And you're totally right. I think the law of numbers say like 25% of people are going to love you no matter what you say or do. 25% of people are going to hate you, even if you have even if you're perfect for some reason, they won't gravitate towards you. It's the other 50% that you have like a chance of persuading or influencing. And the fact that you're a sponge and always like absorbing and being self-aware of how you can improve, it just shows that you're a student of the game. What's the story behind your most memorable success or failure, would you say?
I mean, I have a lot of good stories, a lot of good case studies. I mean, my successes, yeah, they make me feel good because they know I'm onto something. At the end of the day, whenever I can get clients results, whenever I can get clients more loans, more real estate transactions, more recruits, more exposure online, yeah, it makes me feel great. But the failures is where I learn more from, because the failures is what kind of like it shares with me what not to do. It shares with me that I have to pivot. So I don't get too high with the successes. I definitely don't get too low with the failures. It's a journey. I'm always striving to hit my goals and hit the summit of my goals or my mountain. But once you hit that summit, that then becomes your base camp to the next summit. It's never ending. The journey of an entrepreneur, the journey of a sales professional, it never ends, because you have to provide for your family, you have to provide for yourself, you have to take care of your clients, you have to take care of your staff and team. You always have to evolve and grow. It's never ending. And the more you're engaged in learning and growing, the more you're going to have doors open up, and those doors are going to be bigger doors, and you're going to have bigger opportunities. What I used to think was a big deal now is normal. And now my next big deal project is like, wow, that's a little scary, but that's just life. So I never get too high, never get too low. I want to stay as even keel as possible. But one thing that I did learn coming to New York and being on the East Coast is grit and grind. The grit and the grind for here is for real. And when you could add, some systems and some structure, and surround yourself with the right people, and leverage AI and marketing the right way, good things can happen. And it's not just the East Coast. I've been in all time zones in the US, and they all have uniquely cool things each of them do. But here, because this is the latest I've been here, 3 years now, almost 3 years. It's nice. It's refreshing in a different way. Very different than Colorado, very different than San Diego.
I tell you, I'm sure it's a city that never sleeps. And it's funny how grit and grind is like the backbone for most people's success in any sport, like any occupation. Those characteristics can take you places farther than talent could ever take you. Who or what inspires or influences you the most in your work, would you say?
I've always been a big fan of personal development and mindset before I even got into marketing. That was kind of like my jam, my base. I remember being younger, 15, 16, maybe even up to 17. I was a late bloomer, but when all my friends would go out on Friday nights, I would, I was playing sports. I was playing basketball at the time, but I would go to Barnes and Noble, and I would sit in Barnes and Noble for hours. And one of my first mentors, got me introduced to personal development. The first book that I read was The Greatest Salesman in the World by Og Mandino. It's a really short read. It's meant to be read over a year's time. There's 12 scrolls, and you read each scroll once a month. But it was a really cool story, and I got hooked ever since that little red book got introduced to me. So then I got into the personal development world. Brian Tracy, Zig Ziglar, obviously Tony Robbins, more modern era version of Jim Rohn. Jim Rohn was actually his mentor and coach. But Bob Proctor, most recently, was a big influence for me. He passed away a couple of years ago. Bob Proctor was really focused on your paradigms, your mindset. Earl Nightingale, The Greatest Secret in the World. So these were all pioneers for me of learning how to have more control of my thoughts. And a lot of people here in New York they look at it differently because I come from the West Coast, but I didn't learn this from the West Coast. I learned this from when I was in Chicago and I got into personal development and I wanted to just become the best version of myself. And my parents did the best they could, but they were immigrants and they just wanted to make sure I had a roof over our heads and we had food, but they weren't they weren't in the world like I was growing up. So that was big for me. And then I transitioned to marketing and, I learned from a couple OGs, we call them, that really pioneered my path towards becoming a student of marketing. And yeah, it's been an awesome journey. I still have a lot of mentors and coaches that I look up to that are OGs in the marketing and in the mindset. But I like to combine my mindset and marketing together because I think it's a good 1-2 punch. And I think that you need good mindset to be able to go through any business you're going through, any market that you're going through. So mindset and marketing to me are my two favorite topics of choice.
No, I totally agree with you, Alex. I think those are the book or the documentary called The Secret. In order to manifest something, you first have to envision it. So you got to have the mindset, and then with the right persistent structure, like you said, anything is possible. Switching gears a little bit, if you could have dinner with any historical figure, who would it be and why?
Yeah, that one's easy. I would have dinner with Alexander the Great. Um, I'm Greek, and it wasn't until a few years ago, recently, not even maybe 5 years ago, where I found out that Alexander the Great was born and raised 15 minutes from where I was raised in Greece, in northern Greece, in the Macedonian area. My dad's from Drama, and Alexander the Great was raised 15 minutes literally from where I was raised. And I went to his old community, and Alexander the Great's mentor was Aristotle, and that's who he learned from, all his principles of life and whatnot. So he'd be one for sure that I wanted to spend some time with. My name is Alexander Alexandros in Greek, just to kind of learn, the stoicism of what he was learning from Aristotle. And I believe Aristotle's mentor was Socrates, and I believe Socrates' mentor was Plato. So we're talking the lineage here of just the best minds back then, hundreds or thousands of years ago. So for me, that would be a for sure nice little dinner meeting with Alexander the Great, and maybe he invites Aristotle and myself and Alexander are together. That'd be epic.
Yeah, that's legendary. Honestly, those are some great minds right there, geniuses. People who know how to execute, I would say. So I wouldn't mind joining in on that one. If someone comes to you today, what's your advice for someone starting out in the digital land? Like, what's the fastest way they could produce a deal today organically, just off social media, within 3 months or 6 months?
Well, listen, if somebody comes to me today not really knowing how to get into the game of digital marketing, there's 3 things that are very important that we would do first, or I would coach them on first, or share with them to do first. And that's number 1, identify who your target market is. Pick a couple lanes, if it's first-time buyers, if it's sellers, if you're on the real estate side, if it's investors. Doesn't mean you're only going to stay in that lane. You could add a couple of the lanes later, but for the purposes of marketing and building your brand or building a message, step 1, identify your target market and go a couple layers deep. Meaning, if it's a buyer, is it a first-time buyer? If it's a first-time buyer, is it a firefighter? If it's a firefighter, demographically, where are they looking to buy, right? So that's 3 levels deep, 4 levels deep. So go deep layers, like peeling back a layer of an onion. Step 1, identify your target market. Step 2, after you identify your target market, start creating your messaging and your offers and your content around that target market. So 80% of your content should be educational and informative to get the attention of just that target market. And today with AI, it's very easy to do. Okay. Step 3, then create your media channels. So let's just say you've identified Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn as your 3 major media channels. You don't have to be everywhere. YouTube is not relevant unless you're really good on videos and really consistent on videos. So don't waste your time on YouTube if you're not going to be doing videos consistently. You don't have to worry about Google. Just get a Google business directory. You're not going to run any ads on Google because they're very expensive, and the PPC campaigns, they're not really needed. And the SEO on Google takes 12 months to 16 months to get any results. So if you're talking, I'm just starting out, identify your target market, create messaging and content around that target market, and then put together your media channels. So Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn, just for this conversation, and make sure everything on your media channels, your cover banners, your bios, your about you could use AI to do this. Your about you is all customized and geared for your target market. So it's all relevant. It's all consistent. And then your emails, right? You got to have your CRM. I would say your media channels include your CRM of choice. Doesn't matter if it's high level, if it's KV Core, it's KW Command, doesn't matter what CRM you're using. You got to make sure it's optimized properly. And you got to make sure you're allowed to do an email broadcast a couple times a week, a text broadcast a couple times a week, plus your social media content, posting every day, different channels, targeting the right audience with the right messaging. Organically, you will be rewarded. Your efforts will be rewarded because the algorithms will work in your favor and get more of your content in front of the right people. That's all organic. That's all free. You don't even start doing ads until like step 6, 7, or 8 in the machine, I call it, or the assembly line. I call it the client acquisition machine, the client attraction machine, whether you want more business or you want to recruit. Ads isn't until like step 7 or 8. So that's what I would start people off with, those 3 steps that I just told you.
No, it sounds like a great foundation, someone really grow on top of. What's the biggest lesson you've learned so far in your career, would you say?
Being patient and never giving up. We're always going to have negative thoughts. That's just unfortunately the environment of the world that we're in today with social media. As good as social media is, on the flip side of that coin, social media could be very negative. People could go down the rabbit hole of just consuming content that's a waste of their time. Unfortunately, our brains, we can't control them as well as we think we can. So our brains could easily get sucked into a trap of just consuming just garbage. There's a lot of negativity in the world with politics and news channels, and obviously social media and advertising, especially in the US. I think we're the largest consumption of just spending and consuming in the world as a country. I think we're number one. The younger generation, as many advantages as they have today that we did not have. There's also the flip side. They also have a lot of disadvantages. People are less socially advanced today, in person than they've ever been because they're hiding behind their laptops, their cell phones, the internet. And again, as good as it is to be able to connect with anybody with just a couple clicks of the button, being able to read any book you want, watch any video you want, purchase anything you want with a couple clicks. On the other end, there's something to be said about the lack of having empathy and the lack of being able to have a conversation with somebody in person and to be able to be a chameleon and really kind of blend into any conversation. Doesn't mean you have to be the man or the woman in every conversation and lead the conversation every time. Doesn't mean you have to know everything, but being able to have an authentic, organic conversation with people, I think is missing from the younger generation, and even the older generation. So I don't know. There's just a lot that we have to be careful of. I feel like if you use social media and take advantage of it for the purposes of serving more people and getting yourself in front of more people, it's perfect. But just be careful not to consume a lot. The average person on social media is on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, you name it. I think the combination, the average is about 4+ hours a day. The average person is watching TV 6, 7 hours a day, and when you add Netflix and YouTube, that's a lot, right?
Yeah.
We should be consuming good information, and we should be producing content. We should be producing, putting value out to the marketplace, consuming less, producing more. Easier said than done.
Yeah, it's easier said than done. Yeah, because I forget what it is. Like the average human brain has like 10,000 thoughts a day or something like that. And who knows how many marketing things they see in a day. So like trying to stand up from all of that, like I'm sure it does take a time for it to trickle down.
Yeah, you're right. We get solicited. I think it's more than 10,000 thoughts a day, but you're right. It's right there, around there. But we get solicited over 2, 3, 4,000 times a day.
Hey, you see what I mean?
Yeah, we have a thing in the brain called the reticulator activator that, thank God we have it, where it blocks off 99% of the noise and only really focuses on what you're thinking of or what's on top of your mind. It's called the reticulator activator. It's like, if you're thinking about, perfect example. My daughter is 11 going on 17 and she's already thinking about the car she wants, and she wants a Jeep. not a Jeep Cherokee, like a Jeep. I don't know what they're called. There's so many different versions of Jeeps, right? But she saw a Jeep Sahara. She saw a Jeep Sahara. She saw a Jeep this, a Jeep that. Anyways, long story short, now everywhere we look, we see Jeeps. It's not that Jeeps just started coming to our neighborhood. It's Jeeps have always been there. It's just now it's in our reticular activator, so we get triggered a lot easier, and it magnifies when they're right next to us or right in front of us or coming on the other side of the road. Whereas before they were always there, we just weren't thinking about them. Thank God we have it. And that's why it's important for marketing to have a target market and a target message, because the same reticulator activator works for our potential future clients. So if somebody's a veteran who's a first-time buyer and he's sick and tired of renting and he finally wants to pull the trigger and use his VA home loan entitlement, he's going to predominantly see more of that content on his feeds that will pop up because he's in the buying cycle. He's in that reticulator activator cycle where now what he's focusing on, he sees it everywhere. So that's why it's important to make sure you have content that's relevant for your target market, because you never know when they're going to see it and when the sales cycle is perfect for them to see your stuff.
No, you're totally right. You're totally right, Alex. It's funny. It's funny how the universe works sometimes. What's the key to maintaining a work-life balance, and how do you apply it in your life?
Well, let's first confirm that there is no work-life balance. Let's start there, because it's unfair. It's unfair in the sense, in my opinion, because of the disappointment that you're going to go through, me, you, anybody who is striving for work-life balance. Because the simple fact is, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a solopreneur, if you're a mortgage professional, real estate professional, and your job is to provide for your family and hustle and do as well as you can do, there's going to be a lot of times where there's no need to have work-life balance. You have to probably overwork. You probably have to have the level of attention and grit and grind way surpass a 50-50 work-life balance. You might have to get up really early. You might have to go to bed really late. Does that mean you're a failure because you don't have a work-life balance? Does that mean you're a failure because you don't go home and see your wife or your husband as often as maybe you would want to, your kids as often as maybe you would want to? What's the alternative? Not providing, not paying the bills, not going on vacations, not growing, not scaling. So work-life balance is a myth. I'm not saying to not have structure. I'm not saying to not have routines. I'm not saying to not get up at a certain time or go to bed at a certain time. I love the morning routine that I have. I love the 5 a.m. club. I love going to bed early. Early to bed, early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise, right? That's an old biblical saying. I'm not saying that is not relevant. That is very relevant. But beating yourself up because you're not spending as much time at home than you are as work, it's an illusion. It's an illusion. You know what I mean? You know, when you're all in at work, be all in at work. When you're all in with the kids or the wife or the significant other, be all in with them. That's really the advice I have. There is no such thing as work-life balance. Sometimes I go as hard as I can, as long as I can, because I have to. And if I'm trying to achieve work-life balance, I'll consider myself a failure. I'll consider that project, that journey a failure, and it's not. It's not. Most of us should work and can work probably harder than we're working. So I don't know. That might rub some people the wrong way, but for me, that's just my perspective on it. Again, I am a believer of structure and systems. I am a believer of morning routines. I am a believer of night routines. I am a believer of scheduling your prospecting time. But things happen in our industry where we have to pivot and do audibles and course correct on the fly. You know, fires happen in loans and you have to stop what you're doing and handle business. Same with real estate, same with marketing. So it's a myth.
Yeah, I know. Completely right. I think as long as you're happy, Alex, that's all that matters. I had this old man one time look me in the eyes. Was like, $1 billion is not much when you're talking trillions. It took me like 6 to 7 years to realize like 1% of a trillion is 10 billion. So if you're talking anything under 10 billion, happiness is the only thing that matters. But yeah, as long as you're happy, that's all that matters. But what's the most challenging aspect of being in your role in today's world, would you say?
I mean, the most challenging aspect I'd say is it's a lonely journey. Being a solopreneur and entrepreneur is a lonely journey. You know, you celebrate the wins by yourself, and you also celebrate the losses by yourself. So you know, there's not a like working in the mortgage business for as long as I did, I was surrounded by my peers. I was surrounded with other mortgage professionals. We had assistants, we had processors, we had management, we had vice presidents, we had presidents, we had CEOs, we had CFOs, we had layers upon layers upon layers of people that we collaborated with and kind of shared the journeys, the struggles, the highs and lows of being a professional mortgage originator. When you're a digital marketer slash entrepreneur, solopreneur, you're on that journey by yourself. You're the owner and founder, the CEO and president. You're solo, man. So it's a lonely journey. It's a very rewarding journey, but that's one of the negatives about it. But that's why you got to surround yourself with the right people. That's why you got to network with the right people. You got to be involved in the right communities, the right coaching programs. You got to go out and meet people. You got to still go to events. You got to travel. Luckily I'm a people person type of guy. I'm kind of like an extrovert slash introvert. I was more of an introvert growing up, then I became an extrovert, and now I'm back to being an introvert, but I have a good flow of being an extrovert. So it's a nice yin and yang for me. But yeah, I like being around people. I love being around people. Actually, I'm a people guy. I rub off of people's energy. But it's a lonely journey most of the time.
No, you're totally right. You're on your own hero's journey. But hey, hopefully you manifest all your future endeavors, Alex, and you keep crushing this thing called life. What's your favorite book, podcast, or article that's had a significant impact on your life or work?
One of my favorite, not the favorite, but one of my favorite books is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. It's a classic. I mean, it's probably right behind me somewhere. If you look behind my shoulder here, it probably is there. All those books behind me are pretty important. A most recent one I read again. I've read it 3 times now. It's called The Slight Edge by Jeff Nelson. That's a fantastic book. I try to read at least one new book every month. I used to want to read more than that, like a book a week or a book every 2 weeks. But the problem was I wasn't retaining as much, and I was reading faster than I really wanted to. So instead of putting so much pressure on me to try to get through 24 books in a year or 48 books in a year, whatever the number was, I said, you know what? Let me just pick one book a month. Let me just spend time with it. Even if it's a fast read, let me digest it. Let me read it again and just focus on one book a month and take from it principles and action items. And the most important thing is you execute on it. But the funny thing is, like when I read The Slight Edge for the 3rd time, I got so many different things out of it than when I read it the 2nd time, and for sure from the 1st time. Bob Proctor used to say this: when you read a book the 2nd time or the 3rd time, you're a different person when you read it the 2nd time or a 3rd time, because you've evolved. So you're going to get from that book a lot of different things. That's why I hold on to my books, especially personal development books. And I have some fictional books as well. I like mythology books, Greek mythology. I like that kind of stuff. But the books behind me, a lot of those books have been read, but a lot have not. And typically a book will find me at the right time and just pop out, and then I'll grab the book, and that's going to be my book of the month club for that time. But, reading is a big deal for me. It calms me down, and it's good when my eyes are reading and my fingers are moving and I take notes, and it just helps me with a lot of other stuff that I do.
No, so ladies and gentlemen, he literally has like 50 books behind him at least. It could be 100. I could be wrong. So
no, this is not even my library. My library is over there. Actually, this is just some stuff that I want behind me, and I want to be able to look at it for inspiration. And I ran out of room in my bookshelf. That's why these are here, because these are like some of my favorites, and then my bookshelf is full. So yeah, I probably have about 500 books that are behind me and my bookshelf, which I don't think it's a lot. It's they get accumulated over the years, decades. Time goes by fast.
That makes total sense. Like, no, it just goes to show you're credible, and you really are a master of the game.
I'm not. I appreciate the compliment. I am not a master of the game. I am a student of the game. I will never become a master. The only way somebody could call you a master is, when you're past your prime and they call you the master. And I haven't earned that, but I appreciate the compliment. I do. I'm not taking it the wrong way. But I'm still a student. We're all students of the game of life and business until we go to the other side. That's just how it is. Because we're always learning, we're always evolving. My biggest teachers right now have been my kids. My biggest teachers have been my kids, because of them teaching me how to be patient, them teaching me how to be more kind, then them teaching me how to be a man of my word, then them teaching me so many things that you would never think kids could teach you. And they're getting older, and they're still my best students are the kids. So we're always learning. We're always learning.
No, it makes total sense, Alex. Makes total sense. Thank you for correcting me. But Alex, have you ever been driving in your car or like on your phone or watching TV and pondered like, maybe if I wasn't doing this, this would be my other dream job. Okay, do you have like another dream job you wish you could be doing besides coaching the digital real estate side?
I mean, I enjoy doing this a lot. If I had something else that I'd be doing, it'd probably be me being a professional athlete, maybe a soccer goalie, because my dad played professional soccer, and I wish I played soccer more when I was younger. But I grew tall really fast. You can't see it on the Zoom, but I'm 6'4", and I grew, 6, 7, 8 inches in like one summer. So I went from playing soccer to immediately playing basketball, and I never looked back. But I always loved like soccer's football. We call it football in Europe. They call it soccer here, but football in Europe is in the world is the number one sport, and I love it, especially going back to Greece and going to Europe. So I'd say being a professional athlete, either a goalie for Real Madrid or Barcelona or Olympiacos, which is a big Greek. My dad actually played for them, or being a professional Muay Thai fighter because I love Muay Thai. I love the art and science of Muay Thai, even though it's a very physically demanding sport. But I wish if I had to do it again, and I got raised in Thailand, and I started training at like 6 years old because that's when they start. They start fighting at 9, and they have 200 fights by the time they turn 15. I'd be a professional Muay Thai fighter, not in Thailand because I'd be too big. In the K1 circuit is what they call it, which is the number one circuit for kickboxing.
No, those are very extraordinary places. I'm sure that just goes to show your competitive spirit that you just want to be number one in whatever you put your mind into. What's one piece of advice you wish you had received early in your career that you think could have been a catalyst or changed your whole trajectory?
Yeah, it's a good question. Be patient with the journey, enjoy the journey, and remember the consistency in the seeds you plant today is what gets harvested tomorrow. So in the beginning of my mortgage career, I didn't realize that I would have a 20-year career when I was a telemarketer. At 28 when I started as a telemarketer, I thought it'd just be a short run, make some calls, make the money to eat and pay the bills, and I'd move on to something else. But I ended up having a career in the mortgage industry for 2 decades. I wish I was knowing what I know now. I would have taken that different approach and planted seeds early on, and have been patient and letting them harvest at the right time they have to harvest. But it's not only planting seeds early on; it's planting the right seeds and planting it in the right crops or in the right soil, right? And then nurturing the seeds so they can harvest into crops, and then you obviously you have the fruits of your labor there. I didn't get that early on. So I learned that the hard way over 10 years later, 12 years later, I realized all the results today are from the efforts yesterday, not yesterday, like yesterday, months, week, years ago. So being patient with the journey, being okay, struggling and failing, and then learning and growing. But you got to be consistent. Everybody that I'm around that's very successful right now, more successful than I am, they're great at what they do. Don't get me wrong; they're great at what they do, and they're very blessed. But they put in the work, and they were consistent, and that's the name of the game: being consistent, putting in the work, learning and growing, and surrounding yourself with the right people, and then just always doing your best.
No, you're totally right, Alex. I got 3 more questions for you.
A lot of questions. Wow.
Yeah, sorry. We're wrapping up here. So when I'm 80 years old, when I'm really old, I'm going to rewatch this. What's one piece of advice you want to leave with me that's priceless and timeless?
Well, when you're 80 years old, which is going to be about 40 years from now, 50 years from now for you, because you're a young lad. 80 is not going to be that old. Like we think 80 is old today, and even today, I mean, the way people live today and technology and vitamins and just whatever, I think 80, you're still going to have a good run. I think all of us could perform better and longer moving forward. But what was your question again? Sorry, I forgot your question because you said 80.
Yeah, so when I'm 80, I'm going to rewatch this. Like what's one piece of advice you want to leave with me that can like make me smile, or just, what's something you want to leave with me whenever you watch this?
Enjoy the journey, man. Listen, you come into this world by yourself and you leave by yourself. All of us do. So in between, it's whatever we want it to be. So remember that, there's another chapter of our book, and it's not on this planet. you know, there's gonna be another book after this. So this book of life that we call it has multiple chapters, and your first chapter was you by yourself coming into this world, and your last chapter is you by yourself. And hopefully, God willing, you live a good 90, 100 years, and they're good years. But everything we do in between is up to us to write in our book, and as you get older, you get wiser. So I'm definitely getting wiser as older I get. And you look back at all the mistakes you made, and you realize like, wow, you didn't know anything at the time, but that's just life. And everything gets us to where we are today. And we just got to look at it as a journey and do good. And yeah, enjoy the journey, man.
Thank you, Alex. It's so funny how cliches stay true as cliches. No matter what decade or century, and cliches always stay true. Everything you said was true. True words not spoken enough about. All right, my last two questions. I'm going to put them together. What are your goals for the next 5 to 10 years, and what's your legacy that you want to leave behind through your work when it's all said and done?
That's a good question, man. I want to be my out there vision, goal, target is to be considered the number one digital marketing strategist and coach in the mortgage and real estate industry in the world. That's mentally where I want to be one day. I wanna change people's lives. I wanna build BSM to something that is could be a legacy for my children. It could be something that, whether I have an exit strategy and a conglomerate of investors comes and buys it, I want it to be something where it's a great thing that I built, and my kids could have something, and their kids could have something, my grandchildren and maybe even great grandchildren could have something. But I want to have a legacy of being considered the number one digital marketing strategist in the mortgage and real estate industry. I want to raise my bar that high, and that's what I'm striving for. So I believe I'll get there. It's just going to take time. And even though I'm in a hurry today to do all that, it's a journey that I have to take step by step, and I have to enjoy the journey as well. So I have to preach, what I'm saying. I have to do as well. So for me too, I have to enjoy every day, enjoy the journey, and just work my butt off, and I'll get there.
I'm sure you will, Alex. I'm sure you will. It seems like everything has always worked out your way as long as you stay patient and execute. How do you like people reaching out to you?
What's that?
How do you want someone to reach out to you after hearing this?
You know what? The best is probably because I'm the most active on LinkedIn. I'm definitely the most active on LinkedIn. I decided to pick one social channel that I wanted to go all in on. It's called the Power of One. One offer, one social channel, kind of like one message. So for me, my social channel of choice is LinkedIn. So if you look up, my name, Alex, I believe it's underscore Caragiannides. So my Greek name is a long Greek name. It's spelled Caragiannides. I'm sure it's somewhere on here as well. That'd be the best way to start, and just look at my profile, my about section. There's a featured section there. I have a free online community that I'm really focused on building. It's free, and it's meant to be free, and it's always going to be free. But I want like-minded mortgage and real estate professionals, service providers, to join, so we could all collaborate and learn from each other. And the purpose of that group for me is to share with you guys real-time insights on how to leverage AI and digital marketing to increase your brand and grow your business. So that'd be the best way to start. Find me on LinkedIn. Go to my about section, send me a DM. Let's be connected if we're not connected, and then join the free online community, because I want to grow that. I want to grow that to the moon and back, and serve as many people as I can. And from there, I have other ways we could do business if it's meant for us to do business. But that's a good start.
That's a great start. It's a great starting point, ladies and gentlemen. You just heard from a king of New York, Alex Caragiannides. Brother, thank you so much for blessing me with your time. Can you stay online for 1 or 2 more minutes after I hit the end the button?
Okay, you got it. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Vincent.
Thank you, Alex. You're the man.